into the fire. All right.
Fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire. I love that little guitar thing in the beginning.
It's good, man. Those guys know what they're doing.
They do. They're a band. They're an actual band.
They're a true band. They've got like 4 guys, right? And they all got together and they were like, isn't it crazy how we're 4 guys, but we play different instruments, and perhaps like we can put those sounds of the instruments we play together and compose a bit of a melody.
Yeah. I think the best part of that song is the intro, like the verses, more than the whole dance into the fire. I like the beginning.
No. Dance into the fire is the best part.
Really? My favorite part's the beginning. Let the view to a kill. That's
you just like the da-da-da-da-da-din.
I think it's got a more suspenseful melody.
Suspenseful.
Anyway, yeah. What are we talking about here this week?
A couple of fucking James Bond movies. You know, they're still skiing and solving nuclear annihilation and stuff. Yeah.
So we're doing a remake. We're doing Thunderball 2. And
it's not Thunderball 2, it's a flat-out remake. We're just going to watch the same movie again. This is just like when they did that Children of the Corn movie that was just a remake of the first one.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
They even went back and got the same actor. Like, if you're going to remake a Bond movie, isn't the interesting thing to like have the current Bond do the old movie? Like I mean, I'm not saying they should do this, but like if they remade Goldfinger with Daniel Craig.
Yeah. You're saying that would be cool.
I think that would be the move more than just 20 years later making Thunderball again with the same fucking guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's very different though than Thunderball. I mean, it's not really. I mean,
not really. They added some video games.
It's complete. I've always thought of that comparison, and it's definitely true. And you got Blofeld and Largo and all that, but like it's really
and Domino.
The whole vibe of it's very, very different. It's the 1980s. It's not exactly this. I mean, I don't know, who cares with the same plot? They're all the same plot. What's the difference?
You know, they are all the same plot. And frankly, we're covering Never Say Never Again today with Connery and A View to a Kill, back to Roger Moore. And that one seemed more familiar to me. Like A View to a Kill, they're really just doing the same fucking bullshit that they've done for like 7 other movies.
I agree.
Whereas Never Say Never Again, at least they're doing the same bullshit that we haven't seen in a while.
That's correct. And it's with Sean Connery, which more than I even remember.
Oh my God.
Really affects the viewing of
it's a mind bender, man.
Isn't it?
It really goes to show you, man. Like, he's just way better. Like, anyone who thinks Roger Moore's the best Bond, you're objectively wrong. And you should go fuck yourself.
Well, I don't agree with the second part that you should go fuck yourself. But the first part, I mean, I agree with you. I always have. I mean, it's so funny, though, doing it like we're doing it. And I know some of our listeners, it is so glaring. I was not expecting to, because I've seen Never Say Never Again actually many times. View to a Kill barely at all. But the comparison is just, it's shocking. Like, it's a completely different
in terms of the performance.
And the presence and just the line delivery and everything. It's just a totally different James Bond.
It's just a more engaging character with him playing it.
Yeah, he is. It is.
All right. So previously on the franchise, let's do that. Sure. Let's catch people up. If you recall our Thunderball coverage from way back when, they developed. So Ian Fleming developed Thunderball with 2 other dudes as a screenplay before they started making Bond movies. Okay? Then, if they couldn't get it made, Ian Fleming wrote it as a book, and then when they started making it into a movie, one of these other fools, Kevin McClory, douchebag of all douchebags, fucking sued for the rights to do this and held up, whatever it was, UA and the Broccolis and Eon in lawsuits for fucking years. Lawsuits that lasted until after his death, into the Daniel Craig years of Bond.
That's right. And you know what I always thought about this guy too? Well, what I really dawned on me during this go-around, though, was like, honestly, at the end of the day, this Kevin McClory, what a loser. Like, he's
not
one idea. Like, no, but all that time, it's like you had one idea. It's not even that original. And it's like, just let it go and write something else. Like, what are you spend your life doing this
Henry,
shit?
He's not talented. He came up with an idea that was incorporated into the biggest moneymaker in England. And so he just spent the rest of his life trying to make money off that idea. And God bless him, he did.
Yeah, he certainly did.
He somehow got this movie made. So let's talk about it. He started developing it after the original Thunderball was made in the 60s. He signed some sort of contract where he wasn't able to work on the remake for like 10 years after the making of Thunderball.
Right.
But like he sort of started working on it in private. He had the rights to Thunderball and Casino Royale, I think. And he developed it first as a script called Warhead, which, by the way, is a pretty good Bond title. It's not bad.
It's good. I feel like it needs something for a Bond movie. It almost feels like it needs something before it.
No. I feel like sometimes these Bond titles work when you just fucking Octopussy.
Yeah. Just in your face.
Yeah. Thunderball.
007.
Well, that was another.
Warhead.
Well, maybe he tried to get. He tried to maybe call it James Bond of the Secret Service. That was another title.
Which was in sort of like our episode last week, where I said how cool it would be just to call one of the movies just after something in the movie, like call one 007 or License to Kill, which they did. But James Bond and the Secret Service, or
of the Secret Service.
It's a little too long, that title. Yeah.
How dare you? Also, I don't think they could have used it because the Secret Service, as we found out with the Kingsman films, is a trademark.
I didn't know that.
That movie was just supposed to be called The Secret Service, and the Secret Service was like, you can't do that. So they had to add Kingsman.
That actually makes sense, because that would be kind of like a movie just called
The Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I get it.
Okay, so he tried to get this shit going. He developed a script with like 1,000 different people. It never got off the ground. He spoke to a lot of different actors and shit, and ultimately they got fucking Connery.
Yeah.
All right.
He had wanted to do this, though, right? I mean, from what I read, Connery had wanted back for a little bit. I mean, I dug a little deep here. It seems like Connery kind of wanted to keep doing this. I mean, he pushed this a lot. He had a lot of power on this movie.
I think he was interested in doing one more. He didn't want to do it under the arm of the Broccolis, and they offered him $3 million, which was a lot back then.
Fucking A, it was.
Yeah. It was offered to Peter R. Hunt to direct. Okay. Now, we encountered him. He was the director of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, the best James Bond film. And he also went on to direct a lot of Charles Bronson movies.
Oh, wow. All right. I didn't catch that. Peter Hunt. Jesus.
That's right. You know how his last name's Hunt?
Yeah.
He named that movie Death Hunt after himself.
Okay.
That's right.
I forgot that we don't have visual humor. I just did a tongue-in-cheek thing for Dan there.
Yeah. I mean, it was just for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't give a fuck about you people.
Yeah, we don't. It's it's kind of for us.
Mostly. Hey,
So, episode 217, by the way. Welcome.
oh yeah, and my name's Daniel Ehrenberg. I'm on the ones and the twos. There's Henry.
Double OH. Hello.
Double OH. I like that.
Double O, codename Hank Beast. Operation Hank Beast.
Okay, so it ends up coming out finally to as Never Say Never Again, a title that Sean Connery's wife came up with.
I love the title.
It's a good title.
A great title. It's great.
All right. I'm glad you got that out.
I did. I needed to.
The director is one Irvin Kershner.
What's he? Well, he did something. I don't remember what.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking. Okay. Yeah, of course, he's best known for directing The Empire Strikes Back. But, I mean, also, Eyes of Laura Mars was a hit for him. And, RoboCop 2, sure.
Yeah, that was the one that took me by surprise. I didn't know he did RoboCop 2. I haven't seen that in ages.
Not a great fit.
Is that any good?
RoboCop 2?
I don't remember.
It's fine. RoboCop 3 is the only really bad one.
Okay, all right. RoboCop 2 is probably just your standard late 80s.
Yeah, it's just like the first one, but with the edges sanded off.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna add that to our upcoming list, by the way.
RoboCop?
Yeah, I always want to add that, and I always forget.
All right, Henry, this film, written by Lorenzo Semple Jr.
Oh, Batman, right?
Is he?
I believe he used to work on the Batman show. I believe that's correct.
All right, he's, of course, an Academy... Oh, not nominated for an Academy Award. He should have been for 3 Days of the Condor. That's, like, his biggest credit. But, I mean, he's got a ton of shit. He was big in the 70s, Semple. Parallax View. The Drowning Pool. The King Kong remake with Jeff Bridges. All right?
Wow. Yeah, that's big.
Papillon. He wrote that.
Oh, yes. I love that movie, as you know. 5 stars.
Oh, you remember him because he created the Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Show. Yeah, we talked about him for a while when we covered that shit.
Well, he was just the name I always remember. It's such a strange, unusual name to see on the credits. I think I just remember that from being a kid.
I think I got it confused with Lorenzo de Bonaventura.
Yeah, I understand that. Dino De Laurentiis.
That's another guy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. By the way, while you usually make fun of my Letterboxd entries, I really wanted to tell you in all sincerity that you should see Batman and Bill.
Now, this is a documentary about Bill Finger?
Yes.
All right.
It is so good, dude, and heartbreaking and so well done. And
he got fucked over for sure because Kane didn't create shit. He was just like, how about a guy dresses as a bat? He gets all the fucking credit. Finger created what? Gotham City, Robin, the Joker, Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, all that shit. The Bat Signal. Every iconic bullshit thing.
He created the suit. The way Batman even looks.
The mobile.
Yeah, everything. It's a great documentary.
The Cave.
Your boy Kevin Smith. Yeah. I highly recommend
K-Dog's in there?
Yeah, it was very moving. The whole thing was really, really good.
When was it filmed? Is he thin or fat?
When is he ever thin?
What are you talking about? He had a heart attack and then had some serious weight loss.
Well, it's a recent movie. I think it's 2017, 2018.
Still might be fat. Might be fat in that.
It was kind of neck up shots. So
okay.
It was hard to tell. And he had his hockey shirt on, which
obviously God.
No, it's such a bad look for anyone.
I mean, it's fine if you're, a rebel filmmaker in your 20s. But motherfucker, you're like in your 50s with a grown daughter. Take off your hockey jersey. Take off your fucking jorts.
Yeah, it's a bad look. Yeah, it doesn't work.
I mean, just put on jeans and a t-shirt. I'm not asking for a lot here.
No. We don't need you to wear a suit. I don't need Kevin Smith in a suit.
You don't need to be Sam Raimi up in this piece.
No. Sam Mendes is not making an appearance. Just,
No, I said Raimi because he dresses as in a suit every day on his film sets.
I didn't know that, but I thought of Sam Mendes because he always looks very dapper anytime I ever see him.
Well, he got to start in the theater.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
He trod the boards before, putting stuff down on wax.
That's right. I don't really understand that joke, I have to say.
That's some film terms for you, Henry.
I don't know a lot about film.
I know.
I
know. Well, part of this podcast, I formed it to educate you on film.
I realize that every week, and I'm always grateful. I take home a term every night. It's like the guy who reads a dictionary every day, the people who think that enhances their...
Aardvark.
Contemptuous.
Sure. Henry, this film came out Act 7, 1983. This, of course, is our part 2 of our 1983 Bond coverage because Octopussy had come out earlier that year.
That's right.
Budget of $36 million, box office of $160. It did well, not as well as Octopussy. Eon won. Yeah. Came in at number 14 at the box office, right between The Big Chill and Jaws 3D, previous episode.
Wow.
Wow. That's the SeaWorld one.
Dennis Quaid and Dan Favorite, The Big Chill. Yeah.
DQ. Yeah.
You're a big
Currently,
fan now.
He just married a 26-year-old.
Oh, good for him. What's he, 60-something?
No, I mean, probably.
Well, Roger Moore is 58 in A View to a Kill, and he was older than the star's mother, much to he says...
Oh, horror. That's right. He realized that he was older than Kim Basinger's mom.
No, you're confusing Bond girls. Kim Basinger's in the Connery one.
What? Oh, you're right. It's, who's...
Sutton.
Who?
Tanya
Roberts, right. I forget.
Tanya Roberts. Her character's name is
The
Sutton.
second she leaves the screen, I forget she was ever there.
Yeah, but that'll come up in a minute.
Yeah. Whatever, she's fine. She played, Laura Prepon's mom on that 70s show.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's what I knew her from.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Pardon me, do you have any Laura Prepon?
Oh, that's a good one. It's like... It's sort of a reference to those Grey Poupon commercials from the 90s.
Yeah.
Where what would happen was a limo driver would sidle up next to a normie and open the window, and what he's looking for is not directions, but in fact mustard. And he asks if he would like any grape. Oh, wait. Is he offering Grey Poupon? Or is he asking?
He asks for it. Pardon me.
Do you have any Grey Poupon?
Yeah. And then the cabbie would be like, huh? And then it'd be like, yeah.
So presumptuous to assume someone would have Grey Poupon.
And presumptuous that they wouldn't really know what you're talking about. Because it's sort of condescension going on.
But you've got to assume that in the Grey Poupon commercials, like those Grey Poupon commercials don't exist in that universe. And so Grey Poupon might be a new concept to these people.
It's true. This is a universe where people drive up next to each other and ask for condiments.
That's right. Like if he wouldn't be asking strangers if it was readily available on the shelves in this world.
Right.
Was Fabio in one of those commercials?
Oh wow, good. That feels right. Although anything with Fabio feels right, am I right?
Yeah. His hair.
Seagulls,
sure. I was waiting for one of us to mention the seagull.
Did it hit him in the eye? What did it hit him in?
Yeah, just his face, man. Hit him right in the fucking face on a roller coaster.
His head is so hard that it demolished a bird. I mean, that's
but the bird fucked him up too. I mean, look up pictures of Fabio post-bird attack. He looked like a mess. Looked like one of his eyes was going to come out. He looked like fucking Bob Costas when he got pink eye at the Olympics.
I remember that. Oh, no doubt about it.
I'll step back from that mic. Henry's got a new mic. This is a work in progress, gang.
Everybody, you beckoned. I listened. Here we go. We're trying. It'll only take us a month or two to get it right.
All right, bro. You want to... Oh, hey. This film was nominated for some awards, Henry.
Good. I had them all waiting and ready.
Great. How about the GGs?
Glad you said that.
It's the GGs. The Golden Globes. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly French.
Boy, Barbara Carrera nominated for playing like the main female villain in this movie.
For it.
That seems like a reach for a nomination.
Reach, but she's great. I like her.
Maybe a quiet category that year. She lost anyway to Cher for Silkwood.
Yes, Silkwood. I thought she would have lost somebody from Terms. Talking Terms.
Talking Terms, baby. Oh, you're right. Supporting actress. You got to assume a lot of them were nommed.
McClane, if not Winger.
Maybe, but you don't know. Maybe McClane and Winger got like dueling lead actress.
They probably did. They probably.
Get all that smoke out of your mouth.
First was vapor.
All right. Saturn Awards, our new obsession, baby. What?
Oh, next. That has to be last. I have all the other themes.
This is last.
Oh, there's only two. Just
yeah.
In this. Oh, I thought I was under the wrong impression, which it wouldn't be the first time. All right, that'll be fine.
Henry just broke up. That was not because of the mic. It was probably because of the rain.
We had a massive. We actually had a tornado down where I was in my town.
Where the fuck are you? Come to New York.
Here we go. Here we go. Josh Merlis stuff.
Yep. Oh my God, he's opening emails.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn, whoa, sci-fi best of films.
It was worth it.
I'm going to tell you something. This is a true story. Last week, when we did, I think, our Saturn coverage, I remember how I was saying I had that one song in my head, the all-time high in my head from Octopus. Unfortunately, and this is just the truth, for like 9 hours, I had my own Saturn theme in my head all day, and it was not pleasant.
That sounds annoying.
Never happened to me with any of my themes.
It's happened to me.
Really?
Yes.
Once.
Are you fucking kidding me? I've spent entire days at work walking around. It's the raspberries or the razzmatazz. It's insufferable.
Yeah, that's the mark of a good jingle, I guess.
No, you're right. Listen, I can't fault you. That's what they're for.
I don't want to be hearing the Saturn theme in my head all day, but I
play
kept
it again.
Going. I kept going. It's between Uranus. It's between Uranus. That's what I kept in my head, which was pretty cool.
It sounds like when Kristen Wiig and Fred Armisen used to do those improv characters on Update.
Oh yeah. I remember that. That's back when it was a good show.
It was after that even.
It's between Uranus and Neptune, Saturn, whoa, sci-fi best of films.
It's beautiful. Okay, so this was nominated for Best Fantasy Film, Henry. Of course, in the same category as Octopussy, they both lost to Something Wicked This Way Comes, as you may or may not remember.
What the hell is that again?
We talked about it last week on the show. I'm not doing it again. Okay.
That's fine.
Best Visual Effects as well. This was nominated. And, if I may say very quickly, I thought it did have good visual effects.
Dude, I thought you were going to give me some shit, because I was going to say the same thing. Some aren't great, but you know what got me
What?
was it's not really a visual effect. It's more of a stunt, but it looked, in the shark, when the shark is chasing him underwater.
Yeah.
When he's like avoiding the shark and then closes the door on the shark, like that shit was real.
You should have figured out the door faster, though.
The shark? Or
no, either of them. It was like he couldn't figure out to turn the latch.
But like usually, like in Thunderball, that shit was just cut.
No, it looks way better. It's a good underground shark sequence. It reminded me of 47 Meters Down Uncaged.
It's just as good that way. And you know what? I actually, and I could be wrong. Tell me what you think. I credit Irvin Kershner to that. I mean, he knows how to stage something like that,
big
right?
time. I mean, he's legit director, whereas we've been dealing with an editor for the last few movies.
Can't argue that.
Henry, I think it also had like a good DP, if I remember.
It got some like prestige people for this movie. I mean, I think they just didn't want to fuck around. And again, I think
they made the offer to some people that probably had some interest in working on a James Bond film, but didn't want to deal with the corporate bullshit.
Right. They didn't want to deal with the corporate bullshit. And it might not have been like, oh, we'd work with Sean Connery, but not with Roger Moore. But they might just been able to be like, oh, it's like an independent James Bond movie? Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably all seen and love Thunderball, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though it sucks.
Right. Thunderball's great.
Anyway, visual effects, it lost to Return of the Jedi, which is fair enough.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I thought the missiles looked good. There's that shot of the two missiles, and it's flying, and like they do this in so many Bond movies, and they put like green screen over it, and it looks like shit. But I don't know, man. Somehow they got these missiles to look good
when they're in the air or when they're underwater. Yeah, you're right. It looks like a flying missile in air. It doesn't look like a projectile miniature being put against a backdrop.
No, it was suspenseful.
Yeah, I know, man.
It raises the stakes when you actually believe what's happening on screen.
True. I mean, the only things that I thought, I mean, we'll get into it, but that didn't really work effects-wise, I thought, were some of the things they brought back from the original Thunderball, but they didn't look bad. They were still just stupid 18 years later, which were the Mancopter. Bad stuff.
If it was up to me, they'd kill off Q, and he'd never use a gadget again for the rest of the series.
I loved, obviously, everyone knows I love Q, but I loved the actor they got to do it. Did you recognize him?
Who, Mr. Bean?
No. We'll hopefully not spend too much time on
I would
that.
love to. Well, I think we'll spend a lot of time talking about Mr. Bean's role in this great film as Mr. Tiny Dick.
Fucking unbelievable. Yeah, no, the guy who played Q was the detective in Frenzy, who's like on the serial killer's tail. I recognized him instantly.
Really?
Yeah, it's him, the guy who has the wife that's a terrible cook, and he's very, very good. That actor, I can't remember his name.
Oh, the terrible cook. That is for sure the MVP of Frenzy.
She's unbelievable. She's amazing.
She's incredible.
Yeah. This is foie gras with a touch of quail's eggs and a mousse-bouche. Yes, it looks amazing, dear.
Yeah, he's great because he just tries to power through, man.
I love this guy in this movie. He even has a totally self-referential line to the Bond franchise, which you don't get a lot with the Connery ones, when he hopes that we can get back to some gratuitous sex and violence. I certainly hope so. I'm just filling time with quotes while Dan fiddle fucks around with whatever it is he's doing.
I'm having some technical diffs, but it's all right.
I understand. Take your time.
I'm here. Let's talk about it. All right, so this movie was in development for fucking 20 years. It finally comes out in 1983. Let's discuss it. It starts out with a pretty half-ass sequence of James Bond doing some, like, bullshit training or whatever. And then it's the song. I mean, 20 years of development, and this is the song.
I don't know where I ranked it on my song ranking.
Never say never, say never.
It is
never.
Really bad.
Never say never, never. Never say never.
I can sing it if you want.
Never say never.
Never say never again. Never. I never say never.
Oh yeah.
Again. You never.
Never say never again. Never say never again. Never.
The room. The women come out of the panties, and they come to the swoon, and they loving it for your gift, and you be sorry.
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, anyway, it's not really an opening sequence. They didn't have, like, the right stuff. I don't know what they're doing.
Here, I got to say something about this opening. I went into this movie having, I don't know what I was on 22 years ago, but for some reason I really remember in 97, 98, I fucking loved this movie. I thought it was like, that was my big Bond explosion period where I really thought Never Say Never Again was like the best. It was like the culmination of all Connery, right? And there's going to be aspects of that I still think, but I just thought this movie was fucking great. And when I haven't seen it in a long time. When that opening sequence started, I completely forgot that it was a training sequence. And so I got really worried when I thought that was for real and like that was going to be the tone. And I was just like, oh no, was I that off for 20 fucking years? And then when they cut to the camera watching him training, I thought it was very funny because I completely forgot, and his new his reactions to it were very funny. And also, it's the first time in the movie, in my opinion, where Sean Connery really, like, his toughness emerges. Like, he fucking headbutts a guy, and then they show M reacting to all of it, and he's just like, ooh.
Let's talk about new M. So this movie takes place in the future, I guess.
No, I think it's just he's who he is. He's been retired,
I think it's like Diamonds Are Forever came out in 1971. He retired in 1971. He hasn't worked in 12 years. And now they've brought him back to MI6, and it's being run by a new guy, and he's this like liberal super douche. He's sort of like PC Principal from South Park. He says that he wants no red meat, no white bread, and no dry martinis. And Bond responds like, if I have to cut out one, it's going to be the white bread.
Oh, no white bread, Shaw. Yeah, it's great. That's funny.
No, I'm into it. One thing I liked about it is that what Connery has over Roger Moore, I mean, other than talent, is his ruggedness. And so to put him with like an M who's kind of like a featherweight,
yeah.
It's sort of
very phlegmatic.
It's fun to see Connery being able to like get in there and just like hold his ground with this guy.
Yeah, it was very amusing, and Connery's got a lot of good lines, a lot of good retorts, and he says them with, like, you miss that quick way of delivery, too. Like, he's not drawing it out.
You know what else I've been missing, Henry? Ongoing villains in this franchise. Spectre, Blofeld. This franchise needs some arch villains that you can bring back occasionally to add some weight and some stakes and some continuity. And this stupid fucking McClory asshole has the rights to Blofeld. And so it is a joy to see. I hate that it's under these circumstances, but it is a joy to have Spectre in this fucking movie.
I agree.
Even though I think... I know it's this way in Thunderball, but because we haven't seen Blofeld in so long, I think the move would have been to cut out Largo entirely and use Blofeld more as the villain.
I get the logic and the desire. I would just keep Largo exactly where he is, just Max von Sydow needs more time. He needs way more screen time. He's barely in it.
But that's what I'm saying.
No, but Klaus Maria Brandauer is one of the best villains we've had. He's awesome.
Okay, so save him for the next one, man.
There ain't gonna be. He's part of this whole thing here. I mean, you're saying save him for a Roger Moore movie, but
or like have him be like Odd Job, where he's there for color, I think Blofeld needs to be your main villain. This Klaus whatever guy has more screen time than Max von Sydow.
Well, yeah. I mean, or they could have just made what they really could have done is they could have just made Klaus Maria Brandauer just be Blofeld and just have Blofeld be the main guy in all the scenes, playing the video games with them and having the girl and all that. I don't know. I didn't really
but
mind that.
I would take von Sydow. You're very enamored of this fella.
I think he's great. I've always liked him. I haven't seen him in that much, but I saw him in something that I'm actually planning on rewatching. It's only 6.5 hours long, and he was in the French Revolution, this 1989 awesome miniseries. I'm boring you, and he's really great.
What is that?
It was quite famous at the time. You were just a little toddler, so you probably wouldn't have heard of it, but it was very, very great. And anyway, he always stuck in my head, and whenever I see him, he's just got this like great expressiveness, and I think he plays in this movie, especially plays like a great sort of psychopath. Like I couldn't really read him, you know what I mean? I couldn't read.
Yeah, I thought he was a good henchman. I just thought that the movie had a weird issue where the henchmen were getting way more screen time than the fucking villain.
Yeah, I mean, they played it like some of the earlier, or maybe they played it like Thunderball, where
it'd be like if like now they brought the Joker into a Batman movie and he spent the first hour and a half of the movie just fighting like his henchmen, his gang.
Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's the Blofeld of Thunderball, not the Blofeld of You Only Live Twice, where you get Donald Pleasance being the main guy in the scenes, but in like Thunderball, I don't even think you see Blofeld. You see just like his hand and the cat.
Yes, but this is a different situation. Blofeld is the main villain of this fucking franchise. We haven't seen him in a goddamn fucking movie in like 15 years. Put him in the goddamn movie!
We did get to see him in the helicopter scene in the opening of For Your Eyes Only.
Oh my god.
Couldn't name him though. Fucking McClory. Couldn't name him because of that guy either.
They killed off a hand with a cat.
But they've blown that. They haven't done Blofeld correctly since Donald Pleasance. I mean, it's been 53 years. I mean, because Spectre, they brought back Christoph Waltz. Who better could you get? And it's terrible. He's barely in it's a waste. I don't know what happened. The Donald Pleasance curse. He's the best Blofeld.
Why is he still alive?
Donald Pleasance?
Yeah. No, he's dead, right?
Well, yeah, but that shouldn't matter because you should. Don't you know those druid rituals from Halloween 3? Maybe you could bring it back.
Maybe they could get Peter Cushing to play Blofeld in the next film.
Bela Lugosi.
All right, man.
Okay, go ahead.
What's next? Spectres, they've got a plan going called the Tears of Allah. Yeah.
Yeah, we treat Arabs very well in this film. That was fun. Goodness gracious.
Well, I mean,
oh my goodness. Excuse you.
They were less than 20 years away from basically doing this.
Okay. Nah, what this
All
is,
right,
this
that
is,
was a terrorist organization. I know. I'm just being
this is
an asshole.
1980. No, it's 1983. So this is definitely the height of not only Soviet fear, but like the burgeonings of like post-Iran and Iraq War and all that shit. So they are still the scary people. But anyway. It's all for the time. What do you think of this? Because we're on the plot. So they send Bond to a clinic, just like they do in Thunderball. But I believe in Thunderball, he is going there undercover. Here, he's literally sent to the clinic to get better. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, he's
quote get better.
Yeah. Thunderball's the one. He goes to the clinic. He rapes his masseuse, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. In this one, he's old. They're playing up the fact that he's old, and so that's like a source of laughs in this one. I wasn't sure about it at first, mainly because like having Connery back, I was kind of like down to like get into business and not like goofing around too much.
Yeah.
But Like, maybe it was chuckle worthy a couple times,
Yeah, it
and they
was.
didn't play it up for the entire fucking movie.
No.
It wasn't like a movie about this, like, over the hill, I'm too old for this shit secret agent. They just like acknowledged his age a few times, which was actually really pleasant considering Sean Connery's actually younger than fucking Roger Moore, and they never acknowledge his fucking toupees and bullshit.
He doesn't have a toupee.
He does in A View to a Kill.
You think so?
Oh yeah, that's a rug.
I never caught that. He got an eye job. I could tell that.
Oh, it's pulled back for sure.
Yeah, but Connery's got the rug of the century in this, but it doesn't even matter. 'Cause
He
he's so
always
fucking
did,
cool.
though.
Yeah, he did, but it doesn't even matter.
Anyway, Bond, when we first we see him fucking, like, you think it's like, oh, Bond's getting down, bro. But he's just getting, like, his back cracked by a chiropractor.
Right.
That was a good visual gag.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going to just warn everybody. This is these movies, 2 movies we're covering, they're not for kids. There's a high shag count in both these movies.
I mean, none of them are for kids. The last movie had the word pussy in the title.
I'm kidding. I was a kid when I watched all of this.
I know, I was too. Isn't that wild?
What? It's something about James Bond, I guess. Parents just feel like, it's just fantasy, you know. It's all so fake and goofy.
Because you
Nobody
never
cares.
see him fuck. Like, the
Well, and
shades
this one
come
you-
down and they cut forward and it's post-coitus. I mean, everybody knows that. Like, you're never going to see, like, an actual boob in a James Bond movie except for, like, a possible accident from afar.
Yeah, but in this movie, I was very surprised. There is some sexual action on that boat. Him and
Was there?
Fatima Bond. Yeah, they show like they cut away and then they come back to it and they're like rocking and you see her like come back like in ecstasy and then like they are screwing on screen essentially their torsos.
I guess McClory, he's got different standards than the Broccolis, and his Bond fucks.
Yeah, he gets down to business.
He tried to get Connery to show his dick in this, but it was a no-go. You know what? I just watched In the Cut. Ruffalo's got his dick out for a while in that movie. Oh, yeah.
I saw that movie like a year after it came out. I don't remember much about it. Just Meg Ryan being a little bit naked, as I recall.
She's naked the whole movie, but constantly, yeah. But Ruffalo's got his dick out for it goes on like it's a shot. He's like laying on the bed. It's above the blanket. I'm checking it out.
I know this much is true.
Oh, that's a reference to a Mark Ruffalo project.
That's
in which
pretty
he
good,
shows
I
his.
thought.
Does he show his dick in that?
No, I just wanted to say when you said that you know that much, I said I know this much is true. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's
Snubbed.
showing his rough. All right. Oh, was it really? You're right.
Not Ruffalo. He got the nom, but the show itself didn't get much else.
Oh, that's nice. That's not nice. All right.
Okay, yeah. What happens? There's a good fight at one point. There's good fight choreography in this movie because we have fight choreographer Steven Seagal on set.
Yes, we do. And again, it's funny. I made some notes about this part. Like, I assume you're talking about when Connery's lifting the weights and that guy comes in and they get in this big long fight that's like a fist fight and they're throwing trays at each other. But
Is this the one that ends up in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight is great.
It really is, and like this movie just really surprised me. I don't know why. I guess I was thinking I was just really going to do a 180 on it. But like, there's no music for that whole sequence, and it goes on a while. And why isn't it boring? I think it's because Connery's believable.
Because you care.
He's a big dude. He's believable as a fighter, and the guy who's kicking his ass is very cool looking. He's just like
and Connery's a person. James Bond is a person in this movie, and I didn't even realize how much he hasn't been for the longest time. It's impossible to care about these Roger Moore Bonds because he's just like a fucking cartoon character. He's a pun delivery machine.
And Connery's lines and his puns, I mean, there are some bad ones in this too, but his just work better. They work well. It's like some people can tell a long joke with a punchline that's very funny. I am not one of those people. You're not really one of those people. But yeah, everyone has like that friend. No, no, hang on. Don't look offended. And Dan's very confused. I mean, like those long jokes that like, so a guy goes into a bar and then he goes, like, they're really long.
I never enjoy those.
I do when it's told by someone really good, but they're very rare, those people.
You know what I don't like? Jokes. I'm going to tell everybody out there in listener land, never tell me a joke.
Always tell me a joke.
I don't want to fucking hear it.
I love it. If you guys got jokes, you send them to my email. Long-winded jokes. I'm a big fan. I love it. Great punchline. I didn't know that about you.
Never.
You never met somebody at a party who just like told a funny joke and it went on for a while? Like,
no, I've watched guys at parties getting a lot of laughs doing that, but I've always just been like, this is insufferable. Get me as far away from this man as fucking possible.
Okay.
I don't care about the dude walking into the thing and the... Shut up.
Yeah. But I can't do it, so maybe that's why I like it. I can't do it. I can't tell a joke. So
I wouldn't put someone through that.
Hey, listen, Dan, if you ever hear a good joke, you can put me through it.
I've never heard a good joke, so that won't be a problem.
It's bullshit. We both like stand-up comedians who've told long-winded jokes.
They're not jokes, though, man.
I don't mean like...
Hey, Henry, orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
Yeah, that's not really what I meant, but that's all right.
I know what you meant. They suck.
How am I sounding on this microphone?
It's there's positives and negatives.
Tell me, a little buzzy?
A little buzzy sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Is it loud enough? That's the big complaint.
It's loud enough, I think.
Okay.
I think you're good on volume.
I think I'm good on volume. All right.
Great on-air convo. Let's talk about Mr. Bean, Henry. Nigel Small Fawcett.
Oh, God.
Okay?
Yeah.
His name is British Tiny Cock.
Where'd you come up with that?
What are you talking about?
It's because it's Small Fawcett.
Yes. You don't think that's a small dick joke?
I guess it is.
This is a James Bond movie. If a character's name is Small Fawcett, they're talking about his dick.
You're probably right. It's a dude, and usually those names are reserved for women in this universe, so I didn't translate.
Yeah, but this guy's a nerd.
Yeah, he's the LVP.
Yeah, I felt that way while I was watching the movie too. You might be right.
Glad. He's horrendous. He belongs in a Roger Moore movie.
No, you know where he belongs? He belongs in a Pierce Brosnan movie, man. He reminded me a lot of that John Cleese character.
Yeah, the replacement Q.
Yeah, what was his name? It was another letter.
Don't know, don't care. Yeah,
V.
I don't know.
W. Something like that.
God. Nigel Small Fawcett. Ugh, God.
All right,
and
so
even Connery redeems that one scene. He even redeems it because then he's like, I'm sorry, I was trying to find you, but I saw you over there. And he's like, yes, you are keeping it quiet by shouting my name across the pier.
Yeah, and then Bean gets to do like a reaction shot like, oh, did I do that?
God, I don't get it. That's just like a cultural thing. That
You're not a Bean fan?
No, never, ever. When I was little, when I was a teen, nothing. That is not for me.
You know what I was thinking about? Here he is, Henry, in a James Bond film in 1983, and I'm thinking, boy, we're only 20 years away from the creation of Johnny English.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unseen.
A master. Rowan Atkinson, a master of his craft.
Honestly, he's just one of those actors. I don't know why he exists in any fashion.
I've enjoyed him in my day. You've never liked Rowan Atkinson?
No. Never. Not once.
You never watched Bean growing up?
No. No, it's not my thing, man. No.
That's sort of surprising to me.
Why?
I don't know. He was just so everywhere. Like, I can see you as a kid enjoying him the same way you enjoy, like, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Or some shit.
But you know I don't go for, like, that mugging kind of dumb, big clothes, stupid wearing, like, dumb acting. I did never go for that. I never did. I just don't find it funny. It's Jerry Lewis to me. It's the same fucking thing as Jerry Lewis.
What about when he is, the priest or whatever at 2 of the weddings of the 4 weddings and the funeral?
Don't even remember that. Nah, I haven't seen that movie since the theater.
I watched it recently. I wouldn't have remembered it otherwise. All right, H-Dog. Let's see. We're in, where are we? The Bahamas?
Yeah, we're in the Bahamas. We got an eye cornea transplant going on here.
I dug that. They gave they kidnapped this, like, drug addict or something. And they...
Yeah, I mean, I think he volunteers for money.
Yeah, they pulled out one of his fucking eyeballs. They replaced it with like a replica of the president's eyeball so that he can get into secret facilities. Meanwhile, his sister's name is Domino for no reason, and she's played by Kim Basinger, and a very variable talent. And she is in an aerobics class, and perhaps the villain of the piece, not Blofeld, of course, because he's not really the villain of the piece, that henchman guy that Henry loves, may be falling in love with her.
Largo.
Is that all correct?
Well, I mean, sure. He's. I mean, I don't think Largo really gives a shit too much. But yeah. How about that jazz?
He does too, though, because one Bond.
Yeah, he gets mad.
Yeah, Bond specifically kisses her to get him mad, and it works.
Yeah, it does work. You're right.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Was that to me? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because I remember something that you did
those reactions. What?
Because I remembered something that you did it. Yeah. That doesn't happen that often.
It, buddy. Oh, that's not true at all. Yeah, no, that jazz score was really great in the You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of in Superman 2 when they go in the diner.
Dude,
and Clark gets his ass kicked.
It sucks. The score. When was the last good score in one of these movies?
You know what's sad too is that I believe Herb Alpert did a lot of this score, and he's fucking great, man. Tijuana Brass.
You know what score I kind of liked? A View to a Kill.
I did too.
They were doing some weird shit in that movie.
Because John Barry woke up again for this one. he tends to sleep and then wake up between movies.
You know what? It reminded me of.
He took the Duran Duran song and made really neat little variations of it all throughout. It was very cool.
It reminded me of John Ottman's X-Men score.
Ah, I can hear that.
The
sure.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in the background, but it's also. I also appreciated the score in A View to Kill because it was refreshing, coming off of Never Say Never Again. I mean, we got to hear the 007 theme, we got to hear the usual Bond tropes, but plus the Duran Duran mixed with John Barry, good stuff. But anyway, long story short, the president's eyeball is gonna. It's the same plot as Thunderball. They want nuclear weapons to demolish the world.
Oh, whatever. Ultimately, we're going to be at some sort of nuclear missile base underwater. And that's going to be the third act of the movie. It's all underwater. Yeah. It's all boring. That's what we do in Thunderball.
I really didn't think I would like the scene because it was upcoming and you could feel, oh boy, this just kept happening to me. But I thought it was great. The video game sequence.
All right, Henry.
Was cool,
Shut
man.
the fuck up, dude.
Because of the pain that's administered in the handles.
Henry, do you watch a lot of Twitch videos?
I mean, I have an Atari 2600.
On Twitch, Henry, that's a great website where you can watch people play video games. If you enjoyed 10 to 15 minutes of that in the scene, then maybe you would enjoy more. on Twitch.
I appreciate the recommendation, but I did enjoy James Bond playing a pain game with Largo.
They're basically playing Risk, but
Right.
with like the graphics of an Atari. And they're sitting on either side of a table, and they're playing a video game for like 10 minutes while people watch.
And it can kill you.
It's called Domination. Can it kill you?
Yes.
It seems to be
They say
really stinging their hands, Henry.
Yeah. But it's stinging their hands, but they also go to like 80%, and then when they say it at the end before they play the final game, Largo goes, "Do you know what this could mean?"
But
And
Henry,
he's like,
it's only going to kill them if, like idiots, they never let go and they let a video game kill them.
what would be in James Bond's obituary if that's how he died?
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what it would be? Game over. James Bond dead at 53 or whatever.
His Majesty sends her condolences. A lifetime of gonorrhea, syphilis, and cirrhosis, but supplanted by an Atari 2600 007.
Great. Yeah, I found this part fairly insufferable.
I did not. I think if it had gone on a tad longer, I would have, but I liked it.
Seemed to be going on forever. And they're in this casino. They called it the Casino Royale. Did you notice that?
Did not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe I did. Where does it say that?
I don't know.
Now
It's a
that
huge sign as they're walking in.
I'm picturing that now. I loved how he got the doorman out of the way. That was classic Connery. He gives him like his fucking cigarette box and tells him it's a thermonuclear device and has him hold it in the closet. Remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
It was great. And then at the end, you know it's coming, and he comes back when he's leaving, and he's like, "Thank you." And he just grabs it, and it's nothing, and the guy's like standing there. It was great. Great stuff.
So I can't let this go, Henry. We're in the Bahamas, and he's being chased by Fatima, who is a villain, but who also might want to fuck Bond, because everyone wants to fuck Bond always.
At
And
this point, James Bond has already had sex, I believe, once.
with whom?
Well, he screws the masseuse.
The masseuse who
screws-
cracked his back? Oh, that's right. You're right.
And he screws there's a 4 count. It's the masseuse, it's Fatima Blush, it's Domino, and there's a 4th. There's somebody else. You got to help me out here. You don't remember his screwing?
I don't recall, man. He
Yeah,
fucked
no,
that
no,
horse?
Absolutely. Because I mark it down every time it happens.
I'm sure you do, man.
It's
Anyway,
sad.
what I wanted to call attention to is an extreme sports activity that we have not encountered yet in this franchise that really stuck out to me, Henry. And I talk about water skiing.
Yes.
Because, Henry, what I have learned watching the Roger Moore movies back to back to back is that there are two things that Bond loves maybe even more than fucking. And those two things are skiing and being underwater.
Yeah, very true.
And so, to me, water skiing might be the ultimate James Bond relaxation activity.
Wow. I never thought about that. You put 2 and 2 together there. Yeah.
Yeah, you get
You know-
4.
4 shags.
That's right.
You know, you just mentioned something that I never thought of either. Do we ever see Sean Connery skiing in any James Bond movie?
No,
Down a
because
snow-
I believe the first time we see it is in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is Lazenby.
Right. And then you don't see it again until Roger Moore. So I don't
Until
think
Roger
maybe
Moore does it in every movie.
Right. Maybe Connery's just not into it. Maybe they came to him with that idea a couple times, like, I don't like snow.
I will only play James Bond in warm weather environments.
Going to go to the Bahamas. I remember this anecdote from ages ago from the book I mentioned that Dan's going to read next. By Roger Moore called My Word Is My Bond.
Excuse me,
and,
did you read that book?
I told you this, the first episode.
Yeah, I know. That was before I hated Roger Moore.
Right, that's true. In 2000, I didn't read the whole book. I just went to Bond parts. And he's very debonair, funny writer. I know that's hard to believe, but anyway,
I'm sure he read every word.
I'm sure there's no ghosting there. He talks about how he ran into Sean Connery at the airport when Connery was filming Never Say Never Again, and he was filming Octopussy, which you'd think would be awkward, but they're friends.
You know what would be great if they both had their toupees off for the meeting.
I'm telling you, Moore's not wearing a toupee.
He
man.
is in A View to a Kill, man. This
Maybe
is a rug.
It's an added piece to the front,
I don't know. The color looks weird. There's a lot going on with this guy. He's got an artificial tan.
He needs a lot of work.
I mean, he's basically Trump in A View to a Kill.
Okay, now. Easy
just
does
looks-wise, man.
Easy does it. Yeah, no, he said that they ran into each other at the airport, and the main thing they said was just, where are you headed? And Roger Moore said, I'm going to India. And he said, where are you going, Sean? And Sean said, the Bahamas. And Roger Moore was very upset that he had to go to India and Sean Connery had to go to the Bahamas.
That never happened.
You think he made that up?
Yes.
You think Roger Moore made up that story?
Yes.
Why would he do that?
Excuse me. Roger Moore and Sean Connery ran into each other at the airport on the way to filming their two separate Bond movies in different locations.
At Heathrow? I've been there. It's one of the largest airports in the world. It's possible that they ran into each other in the bar.
With no one else around. They're able to have a nice conversation.
I don't know specifics, but I do remember the anecdote.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. You know what? It was for the listeners, Mr. Dan, not you.
What?
It was for the listeners, Dan, not you.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that spurious tale. Okay. He fucks Fatima, and there's some smooth saxophone happening. Oh, I remember who he fucks. Henry, the fourth fuck. There's like this lady in the Bahamas who's just sort of like hanging around by the dock, and Bond runs into her a few times and is just like, hey, if I'm ever free, do you want to fuck me? And she's like, of course. And
he catches him on her fishing lure.
Oh, yeah. And then there's that scene where they go fuck in Bond's apartment, and Fatima thinks they're going to fuck in her apartment, and she blows up her apartment.
That's correct. Yeah. And,
that was a cool shot. You could see the explosion in the distance as they're fucking.
Yeah, that was Kirshner, man. It's got to be Kirshner. Just being, he knows.
That's what happens when you hire an actual movie director to make your movie.
You've been saying this for a while, and I haven't exactly objected. I haven't disagreed with you, but when you do see this movie, even if I'm sure there are people who don't like the movie, but you can't deny the difference in quality of direct. I mean, it's ridiculous. So the difference is huge.
Hey, John Glenn, get back to space. I don't think movies are your thing. All right.
Hey, the Senate has a quorum call. Get on the floor, buddy.
What is that? Was he a senator as well?
Senator from Ohio, man. Democrat.
Really?
I know. You wouldn't really think of a NASA guy. Yeah. That's right. He's one of the good guys.
All right. I guess I'll believe that.
It's politics. You should probably believe me.
Yeah, they're all shitty. Henry.
Oh yeah, I know.
All right. Oh, what? Leave me alone. They are. Hey, Connery, he goes underwater. He runs away from that shark we talked about. It's a total waste of time, but it's really fun.
It's a total waste of time, yeah.
Hey, how about this? Let's bring in Felix Leiter. But excuse me, more like Felix Darker. Am I right? What's going on here?
Oh, God.
What a step up this was. The great Bernie Casey.
Bernie Casey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. From Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, but what else? Because he is a familiar face. I mean, that guy's been a ton of stuff.
He's been in everything. It's like another big '70s movie that I've seen him in 1,000 times.
Now, is he the first? He's the first black Felix
Oh,
Leiter.
you know what I'm thinking of? He's in fucking Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, bro. And I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. He's great in that movie.
Right. Yeah, and he's the first black Felix Leiter, and Jeffrey Wright is the second one.
Took up the mantle. Did you know that this was a Sean Connery idea?
I did, which I thought was very cool.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, Connery is not what I've heard in many certain ways, at least towards his wives.
But I like to support the blacks.
Well, he's very liberal in his thinking in general. I mean, he was all for independence of Scotland. He's like he's like, yeah, I like to support the blacks. Dan is laughing.
I can't recover from that.
There's one thing I want to do in my movies, and that is to make the American black man a Felix Leiter. It's not been done. We had Dr. No, and we had in Dr. No we had the fishing man. What was his name? Quarrel. We had Quarrel.
I'm very supportive of diversity initiatives. I'm not a fan of the Roger Moore films, but I enjoyed Baron Shamadai.
Me and Yaphet Kotto are going for some drinks later. I'm turning his accent into like almost like this upper crust. It's getting to be like a.
He's so Scottish. Like, how could he ever? He's not British remotely.
And I don't know that Ian Fleming was like too thrilled about that choice at first. I think we talked about that a couple of years ago.
Well, Fleming, didn't he want Roger Moore?
He might have, but I know he wanted like a real like refined Brit, you know, a la Roger Moore.
The Tears of Allah. All right, Henry. What's next? So Bond needs to get Bass Singer going, and she's having a massage, Henry, and he poses as her masseuse and just starts rubbing her naked body, baby.
Yeah, that was an interesting sequence.
Here's where Connery is so much better than Roger Moore, though, because this is the kind of sequence that would be in a Roger Moore movie. And there's one moment where she's lying on her back, and Connery tells her to go face down.
Yes.
And so he, like, raises her towel so that she can, like, spin easily. And if this was a Roger Moore movie, he would have looked down at her ass and then looked back at the camera, winked at it, and said, "I'm Roger Moore, a.k.a. James Bond, and what a beautiful buttocks I'm looking at right now."
Yeah. I don't know if those would have been his words, but we've disagreed on Roger Moore's phrasing before. Yeah, he would be rather inelegant about it.
But it would have been a long-ass glance, a huge smirk, and basically a wink at the camera. Whereas Connery just... He doesn't even glance down. We just know that he's glancing down, and it's like just a twinkle in his eye, and you've got it.
Yeah. You're right. It's effort because he just doesn't have to. He doesn't have to act like that. It's true. I don't know. You know, you wonder if that's like originated with sort of Roger Moore thinking that's how he wanted to do it, or the director's telling him you should be more forward and
be bigger.
Because I could see that.
But it's not. But he's that way in The Saint too, and it just works better on The Saint because it's a little soapier and a little goofier and a lot more super Britishy, and it's old, like early '60s British television. It's fine, but like in these Bond movies, like these are movies now, dude, and you're still acting like you're on fucking General Hospital.
I will confess, I have always wanted to see at least one movie with him that wasn't James Bond and just see how he is. Like, I think he did like a movie in the 70s with Richard Burton. I think it's called like The Sea Wolves or something. Like, I would love to see him.
You've never seen Roger Moore not playing James Bond?
So.
I don't think I have. I think he made a brief appearance in the Spice Girls movie, which I believe
He's definitely
I saw
in
some of.
that. Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever
Some
seen him
of?
in like.
You,
Yeah,
you didn't watch the whole thing?
No.
It's good, man. Alan Cumming's great in it.
I'm good.
All right. Hey, Roger Moore. Listen, I saw him in the film Boat Trip with Cuba Gooding Jr. He's great in that. He plays a gay man on a gay cruise. Fantastic stuff, Henry, as always. He was great on an episode of Alias. He was fantastic in Jean-Claude Van Damme's directorial debut, The Quest.
Yeah, right. I've never seen any of that.
Well, you're missing out, dude. He's in the original Cannonball Run. I kind of remember that too. Yeah, he's only shows up for like a minute, but he's funny.
Okay.
All right, so there you go.
Just to see if he has any type of at all range.
No, he doesn't.
I know he doesn't do theater. He's not like a Shakespearean.
No. He's not an actor. Watch Boat Trip. I recommend Boat Trip.
Yeah, that'll happen. I'm probably going to check out the Richard Burton one, but
What are you talking about, bro? He helps shepherd Horatio Sands into gayness.
Although that's kind of cool that Roger Moore was not like cool enough with his image that he was going to play a gay man. You wouldn't think someone born in 1927.
Well, of course, he plays the gay man as like a suave, older spy type, but he still does it, I guess.
For him. All right, we're way off here. So basically, how does this movie end? I mean,
they're underwater for like a fucking hour.
They're underwater. Domino's life is in peril. Connery rescues her. There's a lot of chases here. Did you like before we wrap up this one? When Fatima Blush is about to kill him and she wants him to write on a piece of paper that she has been the greatest sex of his whole life. What did you think of that whole thing?
I did not really like that character, to be honest. I
like the character, but that was weird.
It was very weird. It seemed like something out of a Roger Moore movie.
It a little bit like that, but also just a little bit too self-aware. Like, what are we doing? Is she like...
Well, I mean, I do think James Bond in these movies is known throughout the world as a great lover.
I think so, too. I guess that's true. I don't know how.
Is anybody like that in real life? Like, I know like Don Juan. That's where that comes from. But like, is there a person in life now that is well known for their sexual talents?
No, you're right. That is really funny. Like, because you can even think of like the real handsome actors or whatever, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure they've been with a lot of women, but
you never hear like Justin Bieber fucks so good.
Yeah, you never hear like Leonardo DiCaprio. Not only is a ladies' man, but he's known as the world's greatest lay.
Yeah, exactly. That's unbelievable.
Yes, it is. I mean, no wonder Bond has such an ego and confidence. I mean, if that's what he's walking around with, that's pretty cool.
He's walking around. He's carrying the goods. Let's see. There was a pretty good chase where at the end they jump off of like a gigantic fucking building with a horse and land in like the ocean.
Yeah, they jump off a cliff.
I loved that shit. Because they're both, it's Basinger and Sean Connery and this horse. They're all jumping. You get to see the full stunt. This horse is just floating through the air, and then he does make it. I loved that moment. It's so funny. They just like cut to one small shot of the horse like treading back to land. Just so the viewers are like, okay, the horse is okay.
So completely, I did that.
Yeah.
I totally did that. Kirshner must have a love of animals, because in Octopussy, I remember reading one of the reviews for Octopussy where I think it was Janet Maslin. She said something like, clearly John Glenn doesn't care about animals because more are abused in this movie than.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Yeah, there's a long motorcycle chase, which isn't that great, but there's enough in this movie that
The underwater stuff was still bad, I thought, but it was so much shorter than the stuff in Thunderball that I was okay with it.
I mean, I feel like I was a little torn on this one. You know, I mean, my whole life this movie was 5 stars, but I didn't.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I loved it, but it's not. I didn't go into it this time expecting that because I'm older. We've watched all these movies, and then I've rewatched the Connerys. But there's so much in it I just kind of adore. But there are some really boring parts, and that underwater thing still bored me. And it isn't as good a movie as Thunderball.
I would say it's definitely better than Thunderball.
But you're not a Thunderball fan, but I mean, the pluses of this movie are Connery, Brandauer. You at least get Max von Sydow as Blofeld a little bit. You know, I liked Kim Basinger as Domino.
I did too. I call her variably talented, and she is. But I think she's a guided missile that can be used well, much like the guided missiles in this film. And I thought that Irvin Kershner used her natural talents to the best of his ability.
I agree. So, you know, are we giving our rating?
Also, she had a great kiss with Largo at one point that was like real sloppy, and like there were a bunch of saliva strands, and you know I'm a big fan of that.
Ugh, yeah, I thought it was disgusting. I thought they'd retake that at least. Be like,
no, you got to keep that in the movie. That makes a kiss iconic, man. I'm telling you, no one would be still talking about that Cruel Intentions kiss today if not for that saliva strand between their lips.
I don't remember that.
Oh, well.
I remember.
I might have watched that scene upwards of 1,000 times.
This is the Selma Blair Geller scene, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I remembered the scene. They're aren't they in Central Park?
They're in Central Park. Coffee and TV by Blur is playing very low in the background.
All right, I'm sorry. Scene 45. It's chapter 28 on the DVD special edition. 48 on the Blu-ray. Well, let me give this class thing before we give our rating. All right, it's been 2 years.
James Bond, Shag Count.
I'll tell you, the themes sound great on this mic.
Oh.
James Bond, Shag Count.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I held it close there. Well, that's Sean Connery doing it too. Maybe that's why you liked it more. And it is a 4. It's a 4 count. So that's the highest shag count we've had in a few movies. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Connery, man.
Yeah, he has to get it done.
I think Connery is a more virile man than Roger Moore. Roger Moore probably has like a long, what do you call that? The period between boners? There's a term for that.
Oh, like
refractory period.
Refractory period. I thought that was refraction, like when you're studying with mirrors and glasses.
No, that's when you're trying to build up your dick ability again.
That's not to be confused with the tantric period.
Well, no, of course not. That's when you're just not coming at all.
We'll get to Sting in a moment.
Oh yeah, we sure will.
So what do you give this movie, dude?
I give it a solid 3.
Yeah, I give it a 3 as well. I really want to.
Come on, that's the grade. It's a solid 3, though. It's a good movie.
It really is. I just feel like my sentimentality should give it a 4, but I can't do it. I don't think I can do that. So I wrote a 3. I'm sticking with a 3. Yeah. All right, we're in agreement on Never Say Never Again.
I certainly liked this more than any of the movies since The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. I mean, even though, as I've stated, my star ratings are the same as Moonraker and For Your Eyes Only and Octopussy.
I would say this is better than all 3 of those movies, for sure.
Well, Connery's the ingredient, man.
And he is my MVP, of course.
You know, I wanted to do that for obvious reasons, but it's been so long since we had a great villain, as you know, so I gave it to Largo because I just think he's so really good.
I'll say second place for me was Bernie Casey, man, because for a character like Leiter, who is never a highlight of these movies, I was like actually happy to see him on screen. And when he came back to go underwater and like fight the final fight with Bond, I was like, fuck yeah.
he saves Bond's ass a couple times in the movie. It's a good usage of Felix Leiter.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right, my LVP.
And we're going LVP, Mr. Bean.
Damn, that was immediate. As soon as he came on screen, I was like, nothing will be worse than this. And I
Big
was right.
Space Cadet Juan, great listener of the franchise, one of the top 5 listeners. The other 4 know who they are. He loved Rowan Atkinson, Henry.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we all have stories.
What is that from? What is it? Swingers, right? He tells his, so I'm auditioning to play brother, the part of brother. I'm perfect for it. Yeah, that's great.
And Favreau, and he's over. The girls are like smitten with Vaughn, and Favreau's just like, yeah,
we all have stories. Great stuff, Henry. Wait, we're not doing the superhero count anymore. Fuck that shit.
I didn't. No, we're going a few weeks, few months.
Hey, Sean Connery, he was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Let's.
We should do it right off the top of
Kim
your head.
Basinger, Vicky Vale, motherfucker. Let's move on.
Perfect. That's what you want to know anyway. It's fine. Yeah. Excellent. All right, I shouldn't be like that. There are a lot of people who love it. I don't mean to be cavalier, but we're taking a break.
You think there's a lot of people who love it? I think there's a few people who love it.
There's at least 3 or 4 people in the United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. All right, Henry. A View to a Kill, maybe the most meaningless title yet in James Bond history.
Yeah, which is said in the movie. I didn't.
Hey, check out this view to a kill.
I got to redeem myself because, as you recall, I did probably the world's worst Walken impression.
We need to get Kevin Pollak on this show, man.
My God. Now he's insufferable.
How dare you?
You hate him too.
I love Kevin Pollak.
You said it.
I'll have you know that I have listened.
on the show.
I have listened to multiple episodes of Kevin Pollak's podcast.
I thought you hated Kevin Pollak.
I find him insufferable. Listen, I don't like him on not award shows, on talk shows, because he just insists on doing the same fucking Shatner and what does he do? He does Shatner, he does Columbo.
Right.
Yeah, he has like 4 impressions that he just does ad nauseum. It drives me nuts, but I do think he's a good actor. I like when he shows up and shit.
Actor too. I like him in A Few Good Men, Usual Suspects, fucking anything really. He's always good.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I can't. I don't think I'd like that show. I didn't give it a shot.
I think it's marvelous.
I believe that you would. I believe that everybody does. Everyone thinks it's marvelous. I don't know.
You wouldn't like it.
No, I know. I think you told me that,
It's just the stylized dialogue. I think you'd like everything else about the show. You'd like the performances. You'd like the cinematography. You'd like the way that they do the past. It's interesting, but that stylized dialogue, man, it would drive you nuts.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well.
Yeah. All right. A View to a Kill. He's back. John Glenn. With writers Richard Maybaum and Michael G. Wilson. It's 1985. We're still using the same fucking writers that we've been using since the 60s. We're going to make the same fucking movie over again. These are the most passionless movies in film history. It's just just total, what do you call that? A line. Blank, you're on a line of people and you're building something.
A queue?
No. Come on. You're working in a factory, a production line.
Yeah, like a factory line. Like you're just you're what
We're just churning out these bullshit movies. Get a beautiful woman in here, get some shitty puns, get a shitty villain with some access to missiles and some kind of an accent, and let's do it. And here's the one fucking thing this movie does right that they have missed for the entire Roger Moore run of the movie, and that is just casting some decent actors. Just get some decent fucking character actors, even if they're just a good visual, and throw them in the fucking movie, and that helps. It helps. Listen, Christopher Walken is just playing the same fucking villain that we've seen in 9 of the other Roger Moore movies, but it's just, you know what? It's a little better because in this one, it's Christopher Walken.
That's a little bit like how I felt about Scaramanga being played by Christopher Lee. He brings his wokkinness to it.
You're right.
And-
That was the last time we even attempted this shit.
Right. I mean, after that, it was just get Baron von Schmushbaum to be over there. And by the way, it's going to drive me nuts what you're talking about with the factory line. There is a name for it, and why either of us are blanking on it, I cannot remember.
Luckily, because we both have better jobs these days.
Yeah, the Laverne and Shirley thing. Jesus Christ. The Metropolis.
Henry, this was released June 13th, 1985, on a budget of $30 million. Actually, less than the last couple. Box office of 152.4. It's not huge. You can see why they wanted to switch after this one. It came in at number 13 at the box office. Not too shabby. But, I mean, this is, I think, the first Roger Moore movie ever that didn't crack the top 10 in America?
Really?
I think so.
Wow, I don't remember that. Holy shit.
I feel like they were all around like 7 or 8, you know? Spy Who Loved Me is 7, Moonraker's 9. Yeah, I'm looking back.
Jeez.
Oh, Golden Gun was down a ways. Remember that one didn't do well and they had to like buck up afterwards? Okay. All right, View to a Kill. It came in at number 13 between previous episode Fletch and future episode National Lampoon's European Vacation.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. We haven't done Chevy Chase in like 4 years. That'll be a pleasure when we return to him.
Always a pleasure with Chevy. I mean, unless you're actually like meeting him in real life.
Hasn't he mellowed out a little bit?
No.
Okay.
Not from the behind-the-scenes community stories that I've heard.
Oh, no.
Okay, the Christopher Walken part was originally offered to David Bowie, who accepted, but then dropped out before filming. That might have been interesting.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, of course. It was then offered to Sting, who turned it down.
Fine.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that might have been interesting, too.
Don't stand so close to me.
Oh, I'd like to get, if you don't mind, who's the lead singer of Duran Duran?
Ooh, great question. My friend Gallagher's listening right now. He's going to be mad at me for not knowing.
I
want to say it's like John Roberts.
No. It's like Scott or Ian. It's like Scaran Condon. John Cocktoson or something. All right. Anyway, so Sting.
Wait, what am I looking up?
The lead singer of Duran
Right.
Duran.
Okay.
Please do it. Yeah. So Sting, if he would have been in it, he would have got that guy's side and be like, "I like your song."
Oh, of course, Henry, the great Simon Le Bon.
God. All right. See,
I was thinking of the Taylor brothers, John and Roger Taylor.
See, and I had the S in my head. I was in Scara and. Yeah. All right. So he would have got Simon, and he would have been like, "Look, Simon."
Oh, they're not related. I always thought they were brothers.
I don't know. I'm not that big a Duran Duran fan.
Oh, I'm a big Duran Duran fan, but they're a greatest hits band. Greatest hits band. You don't need to fuck with those albums.
I agree. I actually have their greatest hits CD.
You mean that one with the white cover and the purple letters?
I don't. Yes, I think so.
It's called Greatest.
Yeah, they've got some amazing songs, but
Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, The Reflex, some of the greats.
I love the one. Cannot believe you're breaking my heart.
Ooh, yeah.
Jesus, cannot believe. To Come Undone.
Yeah, that's a fucking great song. You're right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was in love with the mermaid in the music video. I watched it just for her.
Holy shit, dude. That's like me and the bee girl from the Blind Melon video, man.
You and the bee girl from the Blind Melon.
I was that age at the time. All right? Don't say anything weird. Hey, Ordinary World, that's a good one.
Good song, too.
Girls on Film, Henry.
Good one, too.
Yeah.
Greatest hits,
man, for sure.
B-sides, all A-sides.
Look at this. Yeah. They've got a live album here on Spotify. They open with View to a Kill.
That's cool.
That's pretty baller.
That's really cool that they're proud of that song. They should be.
And it's a good opener, man, because it starts cool.
Yeah. I dig that a lot.
All right, I guess let's.
We're Duran Duran fans. All right.
We like them.
I was just gonna say I was always like in that whole genre of like 80s pop with the big male. I always was an INXS and Depeche Mode guy.
Well, it always struck me that Duran Duran felt less authentic to me than those bands, and also The Cure and that whole crew. But I don't know, Duran Duran had their own thing. They were polished, sure, but they were good songwriters.
Yeah, they were. But anyway, back to
a toast to Duran Duran. I'd like to dedicate this episode to Simon Le Bon.
Sure, there you go. I like that. Is he still alive, or did he asphyxiate on his own?
I think they're all alive. I think Duran Duran's still playing as of before this pandemic, when concerts still existed.
Right, so no autoerotic asphyxiation for Simon.
No, man, that was just your boy Ian Curtis.
Oh, Michael Hutchence.
Oh, right, Hutchence. Didn't Ian Curtis do that too?
Oh my God, boy, I don't think so.
He might have just hung himself, not jerking it.
He's not my boy, by the way. Michael Hutchence was my boy. I don't know about Ian Curtis being my boy.
They're both my boys.
Great boy, but yeah, I mean, awesome. But I shouldn't say that. Anyway, so I'm glad they didn't get Sting, because he would have come up to Simon and he'd be like, Simon, I like your song View to a Kill, but I'd like to add something to it if you just give me a little touch to it.
Yeah. Just put me...
Said to have you to a kill with a tail. Dance into the fire. The fatal kiss is all we need.
Yeah. I'm glad he wasn't involved.
James Bond 007, he's a spy for good.
He's got the Mayday. Whoa.
Oh, he's going to describe the plot. I like that.
He's got the Mayday.
And then Simon Le Bon's like, we got it, mate. Don't worry.
Too many obstacles in this horse race. Boop, boop, boop. Okay.
Garden Gate, Prince Garden Gate.
That's pretty good, man. That's a hit for the Police.
That's a hit for the Police.
Yeah. He's such a fucking fascist thing that he named his band The Police. Henry, this movie was nominated for some awards. Let's get to him.
Oh. Got him. What do you got?
You got the GGs up?
I do.
It's the GGs, the Golden Globes. It's the Hollywood Foreign Press, mostly French.
Yeah, Duran Duran got a Best Song nom at the Golden Globes, and they lost to Mr. Lionel Richie for his classic track "Say You, Say Me" from the film White Nights.
That's okay. I'm sorry about the film, but that's a great song.
I've never seen that film. Is that Willem Dafoe in that?
No, I think it's the Baryshnikov film. I think it's Baryshnikov's ballet movie.
You talking about the last season of Sex and the City?
That him, yeah, him. I saw that, by the way, that whole season. Yeah.
It's a good season. You're right. It's Baryshnikov and Gregory Hines.
Gregory Hines. I was going to say Gregory Hines. Yeah.
Gregory Hines from, of course, season 2 of Will and Grace. They were both great late 90s love interests on television.
Gregory Hines. Who'd have thunk it? Yeah. Well, Lionel Richie's fucking great. So you can fight me.
Boy, by the way, Helen Mirren, Isabella Rossellini, John Glover, directed by Taylor Hackford. I've got to see this White Nights.
I bet you that's where they met. She's married to Taylor Hackford. Helen Mirren is.
Oh, that's right.
Weird couple.
Yeah, that is a weird couple.
She could have had any guy she wanted.
Yeah, but Taylor Hackford, man, he directed Proof of Life.
Oh, boy.
That's all I could come up with. What else has he directed?
No, he did Ray.
He did not do Ray, really?
He did, yeah. He totally did. Yeah, you can double check it. Yeah. Taylor Hackford.
Taylor Hackford directed Ray, right?
I know. Yeah.
Let's see. Boy, not doing much these days. Devil's Advocate, man.
Well, that I didn't know.
That's a great film.
That's a really fun movie.
Yeah. Officer and a Gentleman.
Oh, that's his claim to fame. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of great films. Dolores Claiborne.
I like Dolores Claiborne.
I know you do.
Yeah. Wait, you said An Officer and a Gentleman. That's another classic ballad.
Lifts you up where it belongs.
Fucking up the lyrics. Not where it belongs. Love takes us up where we belong.
He also directed Against All Odds, which has a huge theme song by Phil Collins, man. Taylor Hackford is a fan of a film theme song. I'm surprised Devil's Advocate didn't have a song by, like, I mean, it's 90s Enya or something.
Devil's Advocate. Al Pacino, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves would lend himself to an Enya song. The name Keanu.
By the way, they used this song that you're parodying twice in the classic film Sweet November with Keanu Reeves.
My God. They also use it in David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo in that final sequence. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool, though.
That's so fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah. Henry, remember that guy who used to come into Barnes & Noble, and he was like this old guy, and he said, do you have any modern classical music like Enya?
I don't.
He used to ask that all the time.
Was he sent to me? Did you guys all send him?
Of course! But, like, I helped him a bunch when you weren't there.
I don't remember. What did he look like?
He was like this old, sort of dumpy guy with like a big booming voice. Like he really felt like he knew shit. Like he was better than you. And so he would come in looking for modern classical music. And basically what that meant was like women with annoying voices. So it was like Sarah Brightman was one that he bought a lot of, and Enya.
Wow. Celtic women.
Yeah, probably that too. All right, let's go, me boyo. Do you have the Saturn theme up?
No. You know, you don't tell me these things. Is this the final award ceremony theme I'm going to need?
No, you're going to need the Razzies.
Okay. You could have told me that before. All right, here we go. I want to hear this in high def, so I'm going to put this real close.
Oh, my God.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn World Sci-Fi Best of Films.
It was nominated for the Best Science Fiction Film of 1985, Henry, and it lost. It lost to a little movie called Back to the Future.
A View, the nominees are.
All right, and then Grace Jones.
John Glenn's in the audience going,
Oh, please, let it win something. Let it win something.
I think to this day he still doesn't know he was nominated for a Saturn Award. Grace Jones was nominated for Best Supporting Actress that year, Henry, but she lost to the great Anne Ramsey from The Goonies.
oh, Anne Ramsey.
She's great in that.
I mean, I always remember her from Throw Mama from the Train.
She's great in that too, of course. She's basically playing the same character.
Owen!
Step back from that mic, Henry. Yeah, that impression just sounded like someone having a fucking seizure.
Owen! Aaron, give me my shoes!
So, all right. Great stuff from Henry. You have the Razzies there?
I'll have you know when I was a kid that I was known for like being a 10-year-old walking around the house doing.
I'm sure you were. You were just a fucking Sam Levine from Freaks and Geeks.
Oh God, what am I looking for?
The Razzmatazz.
That's the one that got sent to my files accidentally. Yeah, sure, right, of course.
Oh my God.
No, it'll work out at some point. You keep talking for a second.
Well, it's the raspberries or the razzmatazz, and it's always like it's a little pizzazz. It's the golden raspberries. It's the worst, not the best, the best. It's pizzazz gone brown. Yeah, okay. Tanya Roberts was.
Ooh, that's really good.
Thank you. I don't want.
Really good.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, I was still looking for it, but it's all
All
right.
right. Tanya Roberts, the Bond girl from this film, she was nominated for Worst Actress of the Year. And
Ooh.
she lost to Miss Linda Blair from The Exorcist for the films Night Patrol and Savage Streets.
Ooh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Savage
Let's see
Streets
that.
sounds great, right? Actually, both of them
Yeah.
do. Night Patrol.
Yeah,
Let's do a
man.
double feature, bro. Let's do a
Love
double
to.
feature for the Patreon where we cover Linda Blair's duo of Razzie-winning performances in Night Patrol and Savage Streets.
You know, I'm not even joking with you, man.
It's not a bad idea.
That sounds like a great idea. I think that's a Patreon big time.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down. Night Patrol and what is it?
Savage Streets.
Savage Streets, baby. I'm in for that episode. How
I'm
fun.
on board for sure.
All right. All right.
All right, let's talk about it. A View to a Kill. It opens on, you guessed it, a bunch of people skiing. I felt like I was going to kill myself.
I was very surprised. I didn't see that. I didn't think that was going to happen. However, I believe a few episodes ago, I told you I thought there was a sequence, and I believe it was in Spy Who Loved Me, that ended up being in this movie. Because I barely know this movie. I've probably seen it twice in my whole life. The sequence he goes into a fucking ice float and opens he gets like a little tanker with a woman. I knew that from a Roger Moore movie. I didn't know what. It's in this movie. That's what I remembered from A View to a Kill. And the Golden Gate and the fire in the building. Those are the three things I remembered from View to a Kill. I didn't remember any horses. No horses in my recollection at all.
How about the California Girls music cue by the great band The Beach Boys, which belongs in a pre-credit sequence in a James Bond movie, definitely.
That was so bad. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, The Spy Who Loves Me kicks off with this pretty cool, pretty awesome ski chase. It's got that disco music.
Enough skiing!
Yeah, we got it in For Your Eyes Only, too. Huge skiing sequence. Remember that? We didn't even talk about it. Huge in that. Skiing everywhere, Dan.
I fucking hate it.
You ever been skiing?
No,
It's not fun.
I
I've done
would
it
never.
twice.
What, you're just falling down in the snow all day? Like, I get it. Like, maybe it's good eventually when you're good at it. But, like, I've got to be miserable for fucking a month of my life while I learn to be a good skier?
Dude, I
I've got to spend my time being an asshole on a bunny trail with a bunch of fucking kids?
The last time I skied was 6 years ago. I was in Pittsburgh, and I was out with family and gave it a shot. And I got about, I'd say, a good 8 feet, to be honest, which is pretty cool. A good 8 feet. And I went zooming down the hill, completely out of control, and I definitely was one of those few moments I've had in my life where I thought I was absolutely going to die.
Well, worst
and I
comes to
wiped
worst,
out.
you fucking die, like Sonny Bono.
That's right. And I wiped out, and I did some somersaults, and I don't know if I ever told you that. It was in 2014, and I woke up, and all I heard was, Henry, are you okay? And I just kind of looked around, and
Also, don't you need money? Like,
I
to
wasn't
go
paying.
skiing, don't you need all that equipment and then to, like, rent a room in a lodge somewhere?
For the places that just you go, they're like an ice rink. You rent skis and you just go. That's it. You don't have to stay over anywhere.
I do like ski comedies. You know, skiing was probably huge at this time. I actually asked my parents about it because there's just so much skiing in these movies that I was blown away. And they did sort of remember, like, they both had stories about teachers from when they were kids that, came back injured from long weekends skiing.
In the 80s, I can't speak to other decades, but in the 80s it was huge. That was when I first went skiing for the first and last time for another 30 years. And it was a big deal. As I recall, my sister even, I'm correct, she owned a pair of skis. She was a skier. She could ski. So it must have been big in the 80s, man.
What's your favorite ski movie of all time?
The Spy Who Loved Me. Force Majeure.
Yeah, right.
What's the Zach Galifianakis one? Is it
Out Cold.
Yeah, see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a fan of mine from Out Cold. I'm a fan of Hot Dog the movie, where that's a big ski comedy, and also, do you ever see Aspen Extreme?
No.
That's a good movie too.
Pickle Limit. It's a great ski.
Well,
movie there.
that's more of a climbing movie.
It's better. It's better sport.
Climbing?
You're gonna
No, of course we're not talking about that. I'm not. Listen,
I know.
I even like skiing when I'm watching the Olympics, man.
It's fun.
I'm just sick of it in this fucking franchise. Have a new idea.
I bet something has to do with. Although he's not doing his stunts. I was gonna say
He's not
is
doing
Roger,
shit, man.
Is Roger Moore an avid skier? You know, is it his little thing to get in there? Maybe
This motherfucker sitting by a fire with some cocoa while they're filming these sequences.
I believe it's probably like a Bloody Mary.
I like the little marshmallows. Henry, what happens next? Okay. We get the opening with the Duran Duran song. That's pretty good. You get to see the 007 logo projected on some boobs.
Great credit. Yep.
Then there's a fancy party sequence that was so ridiculous that I genuinely had the thought that I wondered whether this scene was the inspiration for the party scene in Ace Ventura.
The party sequence at the horse at Walken's mansion
Yes.
with the Monopoly guy.
No, not that one. In the first Ace Ventura, when they go to Udo Kier's mansion.
Oh, sure.
They were even playing like the same Vivaldi, like violin quartet or whatever.
Yeah, good call. And nice on the classical misnaming. No, you're right. But I totally forgot about all that. But there's a big lush gavish party. This is another plot where I don't know. Something about Walken wants to make microchips into injectable steroids and then turn it into something where he can blow up a fault a la Superman and create Silicon Valley into ashes so he can manipulate the world's microchip.
Here's what I liked about it. Silicon Valley is an interesting thing that we haven't touched on yet in this franchise. That's
85.
kind of.
I'm surprised it was up at all.
Yeah, that was intriguing to me. And then, Christopher Walken's origin tale.
Fucking weird, man. Almost a little tasteless, I have to say.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I did never remember that. He was he's a fucking experimental child of a Nazi fucking doctor?
His mom was a Jew, I think.
Either that or just a gypsy or something, an undesirable.
She was in a concentration camp and she was pregnant with Christopher Walken, and then they injected her pregnant belly with smarts.
Yeah, some kind of steroidal
IQ. It's steroids, but for IQ, not for muscles or whatever. It's so stupid.
But it's also for muscles, and they never explain if Walken has those muscles because they say Grace Jones does. They say the horses do, but then Walken doesn't have it either. It's very, very strange. It's very, very strange. And but it was original. I hadn't expected that in a Bond movie, but it made me a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, maybe we don't need to be using the Holocaust for your shitty villain origin stories.
Yeah, I'm talking about Dr. Mengele, who is, one of the most notorious Nazis ever one of the worst I can't even say it. It's just horrific. And they make it into this kind of throwaway, oh yeah, he was experimenting on people in the concentration camp, and it's like, whoa. Did we just make a Dr. Mengele reference?
Well, there's a lot of that because they say that after the concentration camp, the dude who came up with this IQ thing is now working for the Russians or something.
And that did happen a lot. We did it too over here. So yeah, I know that made it even weirder. But yeah, it was. I mean, besides the steroid thing, it was believable.
Okay, so Christopher Walken, he's got that like bleached hair look he had sometimes, which is cool. He's got his sidekick Mayday, played by Grace Jones, looking awesome, just like fucking tall and lithe and like blacker than black, and like
I wasn't sure how I'd think of her in this because I really didn't know if I remembered her being just stupid and over the top.
She's badass and fucking
Totally
sexy,
agree.
and she's got
Totally
crazy Gumby hair. She looks great.
She is great. She's a great. I mean, like you said earlier, you said that finally we got some great actors in Walken, but we also have just presence, like Grace Jones. Oh, and she is a presence.
And Henry, of course, Mayday was a playable character in GoldenEye for N64.
I read that.
Yeah, I saw it on the wiki page.
Yeah, as soon as I read it, I thought of you, and I was like, "Oh, brother, he must have been one happy motherfucker."
You better believe it, man. Can we talk about this horse race?
Yeah, I guess we should.
I loved it.
Really? Wait,
I mean, it was stupid.
Race at the track? Or
No.
The
race when Bond is racing Walken on a horse, and Walken is in first place, and at every equestrian obstacle they hit, Walken presses a clicker button and makes it a tiny bit harder for Bond.
That was fun.
It was like watching a game of Mario Kart, man, with like somebody dropping bananas on the road and shit.
I thought you might reference something that I did think was funny, and you don't. I don't know that you ever get this again in Bond. Maybe you do later. I don't think you do. This was like the first time we've ever seen Q, Moneypenny, Bond, and the new M like out of the office all together at like a social event. Like that was really kind of cool. Do you remember that at the racetrack?
Yeah, it was all right. Is this final Moneypenny?
Yeah. Lois Maxwell is
good.
done.
It's time.
She retired. Yeah, I think that it's fitting that she went out with Roger Moore, though. I think they were buds.
I just think that it's wild that they clearly want Bond to be an ageless character. They're not going to let Bond get past a certain age. They're never going to, like Eon or in the Broccoli Corporation or whatever, they're never going to let Bond get to the point that he was at in Never Say Never Again, where at the end of the movie he retires. We didn't even say that. He retires from the service.
No, but Craig is in his 50s now.
No, I know, but ultimately, No Time to Die is probably going to be Craig's last movie, and then we're going to get another guy in there, probably a black guy. And like I just think it's so weird that when Connery left, they hired a guy the same age as Connery. It still doesn't make sense to me. And I think the whole Roger Moore experiment was just 12 straight years of bad fucking ideas.
Wow, that's harsh. I mean,
I'm starting to think that Bond post On Her Majesty's Secret Service, like post 60s, I don't think it ever really got to a point where it was like an essential watch again until Daniel Craig. It is a fucking wasteland from 1968 to 2006. And there are things I like about the Roger Moore movies. There are things I like. I thought Never Say Never Again was a solid 3. I like a couple of those Pierce Brosnan movies. And he was my Bond as a child, so I have reverence for him.
Right.
I just think that, like, this was a franchise that was vital and exciting for a period of about 6 movies there. And it was never fucking... I was going to say never, but you should never say never again, Henry.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't, because they did it with
Casino
Craig.
Royale, that was it. I think it's a wasteland between On Her Majesty's and Casino Royale. It's bullshit.
I mean, I think...
You never have to see any of these fucking movies.
Cinematically, I mean, you're right. And I mean, it is interesting how I think there really seem to be maybe 3 camps of people. There's people like me who will go, and I'm not talking about fucking weirdo, nerdo people who break down every Bond girl and all that shit, but I'm talking about there are the three camps. One, the big Bond fans like myself. I'll go to see every James Bond movie in the theater because it's like a fun every 2-year thing. It's a rite of passage. It's always got some familiar tropes I like to see. Two, the other camp, they don't give a shit about Bond. They don't even like Bond. They have no interest and will never see them. And then there's camps that are just kind of like, oh, there's James Bond movie playing? That's kind of cool. Maybe we'll see that, I guess. I don't know. He's still around. You know, there's indifference. And you're probably in the maybe fan but indifferent.
But I'm not indifferent. I love the James Bond movies. I want the James Bond movies to be good. I just think that, like, most James Bond fans are willing to accept just any garbage they throw at you. And, like, I'm asking for good movies. All right? Is that too much to fucking ask for?
No,
None of these movies, even the ones I've given 3, they're not good movies.
I think some of that is right. But then again, I mean, you have me when I'm fully willing to say this movie sucks. And, you know,
but you'll still watch it. Hey, how about this, Henry? Of the 8 movies we've watched in this, like, middle Bond chapter, okay, so 7 Roger Moore movies and Never Say Never Again, which ones will you watch again in your life?
6.
6 out of 8. Yeah. And I would argue that you're underestimating yourself, and at some point in your life, you will watch all of these again.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, we're going to rank them at the end. But, yeah, I mean, it's possible. 6 is a lot. Yeah. You're not going to watch any of them, probably. Never Say Never Again, maybe.
I mean, there's a couple I could see myself having on. But I just even, like, I gave Live and Let Die a 4. I have a lot of fun with that movie. And
right.
Spy Who Loved Me, you know, obviously is kind of a classic in its own way, but, like, there's 25 Bond movies.
Right. Well, the thing is that I have to say,
like, I'll put on a good one.
Well, that's the thing. That's what happened to me, though. I mean, once I had seen what I'd seen, and we're talking around mid-Brosnan era when I was, you know, buying them and going to see them actively in theaters. Once I had kind of established what I liked and seen each one once or twice, I was done. Like, I wasn't going, so that's how I think it'll be going forward. I'm not going to put on Moonraker or Octopussy. I'm always going to put on, for 20 years, the only Roger Moore movie I ever put on was Spy Who Loved Me.
I might as well put on The Bachelor because it's more entertaining and it's just as smart.
Well, I don't know about that second part, but I'm sure it's just as entertaining, but I don't know about it just as smart. But
what?
You know.
By just as smart, I mean they're really stupid.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't justify it. I just think you're not wrong. I mean, the creativity dissipated when Connery left. I mean, I do think you bring up a really interesting thing because I've never really thought about this, but I don't think they were just doing things like this in the 70s. But like to get somebody, Connery is essentially Connery's age, does seem weird in hindsight. Like you wouldn't restart it with somebody younger because Connery was like 31 during the filming of Doctor No. That's young. And you would think, your point is, why wouldn't they go with another like 31-year-old or something like that?
It just seems so weird. Like you remember when they did after like Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, they got Affleck to play Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be like if Harrison Ford decided not to come back as Jack Ryan, and I mean, they cast like Robert Redford.
Yeah. No, it's exactly the same. You're totally right. I don't think they had that sensibility about the character. I mean, but it's just so funny. Connery, Diamonds Are Forever. Connery's 41, and the new Bond makes his first movie when he's 46.
A 41-year-old is retiring. Let's hire an almost 50-year-old.
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy when you think about it like that. Yeah. Anyway.
You have anything else to say about this movie? I mean, I have a few things.
A bit of time, yeah.
There's the hot tub scene that they directly did in Austin Powers. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. That's another shag. He
Uh-huh.
He shags Grace Jones. He shags Tanya Roberts. He shags the Russian spy in the hot tub or after the hot tub.
Mhm.
And there's another shag. Why is the final shag is always eluding me? in
I
these
was
movies?
sad he didn't bone Duty.
Wait, he didn't bone who?
Duty.
Who the fuck is that?
What are you talking about? I was so excited to see Duty again.
Allison Duty is in these movies?
Allison Duty, bro. You remember how much we loved her?
Oh, you gotta remind me, man. By the way, it's the first woman in the movie he shags in the ice float.
Oh, that's right. And he's like, we have 5 days until we get to Alaska. I guess I'll fuck you. Oh, I'm doing Connery for no reason.
That you are.
Allison Duty, Henry, was, of course, great in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh my God!
And-
Who's she in this?
And she was also, obviously, the female lead, Henry, in Major League 2.
I remember both of those, and her in them. But who is she in this? The Russian?
She
In the
is,
hot tub?
no, she's a blonde henchman of Watkins, and she is drowned at the end in the sewer system.
She's the one that Grace Jones tries to. She's upset. She shows emotion at her female henchman, the Asian one and the white one. And
The
so
white one is Miss Allison Duty.
Good catch.
Mhm.
Jesus Christ! I didn't reckon.
Must have been one of those really dense, hard duties that don't float. You know, she drowned.
She drowned. She drowned in a big explosion caused by dam pressure.
I was into it. This movie's all right. You know,
The
Roger
blimp-
Moore sort of went out on like a good note here. This is one of the better Moore movies, I think.
It's very funny because he hated it. He thought it was the worst one. He was
Really?
ever-
I think he's out of his fucking mind. This is way better than Moonraker, Octopussy, Man with the Golden Gun.
think so. I don't think so. Look, I always regarded this as his nadir,
I think you're nuts. This is a totally solid movie.
but I had a much better time than I was anticipating because this is notoriously on the worst of any Bond list.
I think that's stupid.
Well, when I think about the last 2 Brosnan movies and some of the other
Roger Moore movies.
questionable Roger Moore movies, I don't think it fares that bad. It's just got this bizarre feel to it. I don't know that it's like it jumps. It's got weird, like it goes from San Francisco. It's like it's in a burning building, and
Bro,
then
it's choppy, but it's got good set pieces. Don't gloss over that burning building. I thought that was a good sequence.
was
That
a good
Molotov
sequence.
cocktail in the elevator, and then they have to escape from the elevator. Bond gets out of there, then he's got to save Tanya Roberts from the elevator shaft. It's good.
No, it was better than I was remembering it. It was. It's a strange movie.
It's got a good balloon finale.
I like the blimps.
The blimps were great.
Blimps were a very cool touch, and it's a great villain vehicle.
Yeah,
a
it's
great
nice
villain.
to see a blimp in a non-dystopian future.
Yeah, it's not an Orwell takeoff. It's not Children of Men or fucking
Anything.
with a blimp. Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, I just that whole first part. I mean, I wasn't really bored. I mean, I just it's bizarre. Live and Let Die, I thought had its strongest part. As you know, we disagree, but Roger Moore, I thought, made a good debut, but it's got such a boring pace and such terrible direction, and J.W. Pepper, that it's just like almost worse to me than A View to a Kill. But I mean, I don't think View to a Kill is like it's not a good movie.
None of these are good movies, but this is a solid, fun time. I would certainly watch this over many other James Bond movies.
Really,
Yeah.
really interesting. Also, you and I can't believe this didn't come up because we have to bring this up. Never Say Never Again and this both have and we've talked about it before, but this week, very bad massively noticeable run time.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. They're both over 2 hours and 10 minutes, which is unforgivable.
It is bad. I mean,
I texted you. I texted you when I was watching Never Say Never Again, and I was 90 minutes in, and there were 47 minutes left of the movie. I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
And I didn't know what movie which it was because I hadn't watched either of them yet. But they are. I mean, you feel it, dude. Because honestly, but in Never Say Never Again, I felt it by the underwater part for real. And then in this one, by the time he's fucking riding on the fire engine ladder, I was just like, wait a second, how much longer is this movie? And then we didn't even get to the quarry and the flooding, and then I don't know.
But then that's a good thing. Like the Never Say Never Again is sort of fun until the finale. A View to a Kill has a fun finale.
It does. I mean, the blimp on the Golden Gate Bridge is pretty cool. And if I say big if some of those stunts were real, that's some pretty cool stunt work. I mean, I assume some of it was. I don't know what, but I mean, it looked pretty. You know, it's just funny because Roger Moore is just so unbelievable as doing any of these things that it's just
Roger Moore is unbelievable as a human being.
You can email Dan at ihaterogermoore.gmail.com and tweet at him Roger Moore sucks at.
You can follow Henry at Hank Beast on Letterboxd. That's his X-Men fan account. He loves all versions of the Beast in all continuities, especially Kelsey Grammer and the little kid.
It's the weirdest comebacks I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm. Henry, let's talk about it. Exciting stuff. There's a robot at the end of the movie. That was exciting to me.
I knew you would love that. As soon as they were in the shower and the robot comes in, I was like, damn.
I was loving every second of it. And Q on the other end watching the robot going like, where's Bond? Oh, fucking, I've seen this a lot. And yeah, and there's that cat. Tanya Roberts is a cute cat named Pussy, which I enjoyed.
Was that the cat's name just because it was on the dish?
Yeah, I assumed. And then, Bond was like, I once fucked a girl by that name.
Oh, I missed that line. Was it in the subtitles?
Yeah.
These are subtitles?
Of course. I only watch things with subtitles now.
When did that start? When you started watching everything on the compute?
Yeah, I just realized I follow things better when I know everything they're saying.
I really like it. I mean, I also find sometimes in complicated movies, like A View to a Kill, you
keep track of things better.
Yeah, you hear things like that a certain character is like, oh, that's what he's saying. Like it's very cool. I like it. I know we're getting old, Dan. We need the subtitles.
I'm okay with it. What do you give this movie?
I have to stay with I believe my original Letterboxd view. I didn't look, but I think I'm gonna stay with a 2.
This is a 3. MVP goes to Walken, and of course LVP to Roger Moore.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, 60 is too old to be playing James Bond.
Did you read on the Wikipedia of this movie, View to a Kill, what Sean Connery said?
No, what was it?
He said, he's too old to be playing this role. He goes, I'm too old, he's too old.
Yes, of course. He knows that. He knew that he was too old in Never Say Never Again. That's why they had the subplot of him being old.
Right. Yeah, it's funny.
Sean Connery's a self-aware person who is able to age gracefully.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Henry.
My MVP actually, I had a slash going through there, but since you took one of them, I'm going to go with the first choice I had, which was Grace Jones. She's a ass henchman, man. She's
great.
Very good. LVP, I mean, there were several choices I could have gone with here, some more insignificant characters. And I don't really have anything against this girl, but they really don't give her shit to do. She's almost like the 80s Britt Eklund, and that's going to be Tanya Roberts.
Well, I mean, she's not a good actor, but, she's fine. I don't know. All she's being asked to do in this movie is play like a bubble-headed idiot.
scream James a lot, so
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not her fault, but she's not the most.
You know what I was thinking about? There's one moment in one of these movies where Bond, like, I think it might be Never Say Never Again. He's talking to like Mr. Bean, and Mr. Bean's like, "What are you gonna do, Bond?" And Bond's like, "Well, I'm gonna have to fuck her. It's one of the trials of this job." And it's like a beautiful woman. You know, it's like Fatima he's talking about or something. And I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be an interesting thing if, like, just once in one of these movies, it was just like a normal-looking woman,
Like Miss Moneypenny?
just like a person, you know, like
like some broad at the bar.
just I'm not asking for him to be like, I have to fuck this woman,
Right,
like just
yeah.
just a normal person. That's all. Like cast Christine Lottie in one of these fucking movies.
I had an average time, Miss Moneypenny. She was good looking. She was okay. Don't be too.
Surely not every woman he fucks is like an exotic princess.
No, I don't know. I mean, that's a very fascinating point. I in real life, Roger Moore and Sean Connery don't do that, so I guess why should their characters? But it would be great. It would be very, very funny if he just
Not
like,
funny. I'm not asking for funny. I'm asking for just something normal. Just a woman who looks like a woman.
school teacher with just curves.
Yeah.
Little bit of real body going on. Yeah.
Yeah, give me, I don't know, even like, what?
Svelte. You want somebody who's a little svelte.
Just a regular person.
You don't know what that means.
No, I do. It's thin. Leave me alone.
No, it's like a little curvy. But sexy.
Svelte? That's not what svelte means.
You should tell me.
I will.
Somebody once described somebody I know very dearly as svelte, and they
Meaning very thin.
That's not what they meant. They must have used.
Then
it
they
wrong.
used it wrong.
Yeah, they meant like kind of curvy with some meat. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. You are the Jewish of the two
Svelte
of us.
means slender and elegant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
right.
maybe your friend's a fucking idiot.
Well, we both know him. I'll tell you when we're off air.
Great. All right. Can we wrap this up?
Right.
What's
Let's
let's do this. Can we rank the films that we've covered so far? The first 15 Bond films we're about to rank.
Yeah, I don't think you guys thought we would do this, but we figured why not, really. Okay. All right, number 15.
I feel that my list is definitive here.
You always feel that you're.
I really do this time.
You always do, and mine is always filled with doubt. I'm not filled with doubt on most of them. All right, definitive for you, or definitive just period?
Definitive. Period.
The guide.
Yeah.
The guide to James Bond films. All
For
right.
the first 15, anyway. Yes.
All right. Number 15 of the 15 movies we've watched. The one I enjoyed.
I'd really like to end this podcast at some point. So could we speed this up a little bit?
It's definitely the film of...
View to a Kill.
The worst?
Yeah.
That's stupid. Number 15's Moonraker.
That's stupid too, because that's a good time.
No, it's not. What's number 14?
Classic campy Bond. It's got fucking Jaws in it. Number 14, the one that I would watch not even before View to a Kill, that's Live and Let Die.
Number 14 is Thunderball.
You're fucking insane.
This is definitive.
You know that's crazy.
No, I really stand by this. I think everyone else is wrong about Bond.
All right, yeah, because you're aware of that, because like Thunderball is like hugely.
No, I know that's not the classic choice, but I think this list, you all motherfuckers, you're too nerdy, you're too involved. I can see this from an outsider's perspective. This is correct.
Thunderball only a little bit better than Moonraker.
Correct.
All right, number 13, the third in a row with Mr. Moore. That'll at least make you happy. Octopussy.
That's my number 13. You got that one right, Henry.
Oh, I'm glad. So glad. Number 12, Moonraker.
Number 12 is The Man with the Golden Gun.
That's my number 11.
Okay. My number 11, For Your Eyes Only.
Okay. My number 10, Never Say Never Again.
Number 10 is Diamonds Are Forever.
All right. All right. My number 9 is For Your Eyes Only.
Number 9, A View to a Kill.
Jesus. All right. Number 8, Diamonds Are Forever.
Number 8 is Never Say Never Again.
Wow. And I think you'll be pleased with this placement. I wasn't happy about this, but I was kind of
Oh, on Her Majesty's?
It was quality of film.
Thank you.
Despite the terrible James Bond. Yes, number 7, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
And my number 7 is The Spy Who Loved Me.
All right. Okay. Number 6, The Spy Who Loved Me.
Number 6, Live and Let Die.
Okay. Number 5, Thunderball.
Number 5, heavy hitters, From Russia with Love.
Oh, I thought that'd be higher. All right. Number 4, Dr. No.
Number 4, Goldfingy.
Goldfingy at number 4. I like where this is going. Number 3, You Only Live Twice.
That's my number 3. You have that one right, Henry.
Thank you. Thank you. That's 2 for me. 2 out of 15.
That's
2 out of-
right.
I would have failed if this was a quiz.
Correct.
Number 2 Bond film so far, From Russia with Love.
That's solid. My number 2 is Dr. No.
So is that. And number 1, Goldfingy.
Number 1, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Jesus Christ. Wow. The best Bond movie we watched does not feature the best Bond.
Well, none of these feature the best Bond, Daniel Craig.
I mean, that's a good argument if you have if you have any argument to defend that with. That's like
Casino Royale is my argument. That's the best Bond movie. Listen, my mom is not into Bond, and she recently has shown some interest. And I recommended her Casino Royale. What? Like, is there any better opening Bond movie for someone seeing a Bond the first time?
I mean, that'll get them into it.
That's it, man.
Get them into it.
You show them Casino Royale, they'll want to watch the rest of the Craig Bonds, and then they're like, where do I go from here? I should probably watch Connery, right? And you could just pop them right into Dr. No.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, that's not a
Tell
bad...
them to skip Thunderball, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if someone's watching the Connery Bonds, I would tell them to watch it. Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, You Only Live Twice, Diamonds Are Forever, Never Say Never Again.
I say watch. Well, actually, I'll be even more conservative. If you want to stay more, with less movies to watch, you watch the first 5 Connery movies, and you're golden. You start with Dr. No. You end with.
So You Only Live Twice. Totally, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I would skip Thunderball.
You would, but I wouldn't. I could live with skipping Diamonds, and if you want to for an encore, do Never Say Never Again. But
and if you're interested in Roger Moore, I guess watch Spy Who Loved Me, but then don't watch any of the other ones.
Yeah, if you have a joyless life and don't think you'll enjoy anything else, this just can't be. Don't watch any of them.
You only have to watch one of them. It's the same thing over and over again. I guess if you really love space, watch that one. If you're like obsessed with skiing, watch all of them.